Ready?
I guess.
You're kind of taller than me.
I thought you was sitting up higher than me at first. Just let it
this,
down.
no, this thing just broke, so it don't. Forget it. I guess you're taller than me for this video.
Ah, nice.
So you said people did used to call you HenDawg back in the day?
Couple people.
HenDawgz was the new name for the Hendersons.
Yeah, it was HenDawg.
Okay. Oh yeah, let's get into it.
Team like Kyrie and KD, or the Lake Show with King James and AD. Wish I could match him up with the bad boys from the 80s. But no black and white, I need that in HD. HenDawgz.
Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy HenDawg, and we back to it. You know how we do it. I have a very special guest today. We have HenDawg Sr. Let's give him a round of applause, man. Let's give him a round of applause.
You're so good, bro.
Appreciate you coming onto the channel. And it's only right that we do a Bad Boys 1980s Detroit Pistons video. So that's what this one is. We got the truth about the Bad Boys, 1980s Pistons. And I told them before that growing up, I kind of get why I wasn't, you wasn't really giving me too many Michael Jordan shoes and stuff, because you was a Pistons guy. You was a Knicks and Pistons guy.
I was an Isaiah guy.
Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah.
Shout out to Isaiah Thomas.
But really, I was a Knicks.
So that makes perfect sense on why you wasn't a big Jordan Bulls guy, because both of them used to go at Michael Jordan. Yeah.
Right.
So, what you think about that 1980s Bad Boys and the rugged play they used to have? And they said that they used to have the Jordan rules where they used to rough Jordan up, and they say, truth be told, they the ones that kind of turned Michael Jordan up in a way.
For real, they made him what he is.
Yeah, right. I heard that. So let's get into this video. I don't even want to really do too much talking. This is gonna be, I guess, the truth about the Bad Boys. I guess it's kind of like, because I think the Pistons kind of got like a bad rep. They kind of say they were the most hated NBA champions of all time, and I wonder why. Is it just because so many people love Michael Jordan? So if you get in the way of Michael Jordan, you're not gonna be liked, I guess.
It makes you a villain.
Make you a villain. Okay. So yeah, let's get into it. We got the truth about the Bad Boys, 1980s Detroit Pistons. Let's get it.
The Bad Boy Pistons. One of the most iconic teams ever in arguably the most iconic era in NBA history. The mid to late 1980s were a great time for watching basketball. The peak of Larry Bird and Magic Johnson's dominance, and the rise of a young superstar by the name of Michael Jordan.
MJ.
The NBA's popularity skyrocketed during this time, and a lot of that was because of those three players. But then we had the Pistons, a team that we look back on today in glory and fame. But at that time, they were not popular outside of Detroit. In fact, they were the most hated team in the league by far, despite being so good. Well, being so good is mainly why people hated them. They hated their players and their rugged, physical style of play, and how they were outplaying more of the popular teams in the league. Out of every episode of ESPN's 30 for 30 series, I'd say the one featuring the Bad Boy Pistons was by far their best episode, and I certainly recommend checking it out. Anyway, how's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and today we're going to go back in time and take a look at the Bad Boy Pistons.
I don't know.
What made them so good, and how were they perceived around the NBA? In 1981, the Detroit Pistons were awful. They won 16 games and then 21 games in back-to-back seasons. They were the worst team in the entire NBA. On top of that, the team wasn't very profitable either, and the owners were losing money fast. The Pistons, previously in Fort Wayne, got resold in the 1970s and moved to different arenas in different parts of the city multiple times, trying to find some way to generate interest in the team. It was a rough time, and along with Detroit's declining automobile industry, many investors were pulling their money.
So where we grew up, I done told y'all before, but it's gonna be some people that's watching this video that ain't never watched none of our videos before. And where we grew up, Toledo, Ohio, is about what?
50 miles.
50 miles from Detroit.
South of Detroit.
South of Detroit. So we right on the border. I always say, coming out of our driveway, 5 minutes and you in Michigan. Like, that's how close we was to the border. So it makes sense why we had a lot of Detroit fans and Michigan fans. Like, you a diehard Michigan Wolverine fan. People don't really get that because, like, how are you in Ohio but you a Michigan fan? But we live closer to the University of Michigan than we do to Ohio State or to Cleveland. So it makes sense why that's the, you know, that's what the teams that you like.
Go blue.
Go blue. Go. I guess. I mean, I'm not a Michigan guy, but I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, that's a little backstory on why you probably was an Isaiah fan, because
For sure.
you were so close. You were so close to him, man.
And those are games you really get to see back then on TV.
Right. So yeah, so shout out to Isaiah and the Bad Boys Pistons. But yeah, so they had Dennis Rodman and Bill Laimbeer, because I heard Bill Laimbeer was the dirtiest player of all time. People in the comments gonna say that here. They're gonna be like, yeah, like, I mean, the 80s was rugged, but
And
Bill
they
Laimbeer was even
allowed
worse.
it. They allowed it.
Right. That's crazy.
Money out of the city. As a result, the entire city was going in a downward spiral. However, in the 1981 draft, they were able to get the number 2 pick, the pick that they used to draft Isaiah Thomas, a 6'1" point guard from Indiana. The acquisition of Thomas would be the beginning of a brand new era. He embraced the...
Isaiah was drafted in 81?
Yeah. He won it all in Indiana in 81, and then the draft, he came out.
That's crazy.
As a sophomore.
So winning time, we filmed 1980. Which was the...
So that was 79-80 season.
79-80,
right.
which was Magic's rookie year. And then the Lakers won it against Philly. And then Isaiah came the very next year?
Yeah.
I thought him and Jordan was around the same age. He was about 3 years older than Jordan.
About that. Because Isaiah played 2 years in Indiana, and they won it all as a sophomore, and he came up.
Okay. But there's something I heard. I don't know how true it is, but I got to put it out there. But they say the whole beef kind of started because Isaiah was a little jealous that Jordan was getting all that Chicago love, and he from Chicago.
That could be.
Yeah, it's like no matter how much, love that Isaiah got, it ain't nothing like, somebody else getting all that love from your hometown.
Love.
Yeah,
right.
So that way, got the statue in front of the Chicago Stadium.
See, but I don't even think that, because the whole league said that Isaiah was kind of
right,
dirty, or so it wasn't just Chicago.
Yeah, but it's like at 5'11", like what are you gonna do to separate yourself? You gotta be have a little chip on your shoulder. Like you gotta be a little mean. Like Isaiah just can't be out there being friendly at 6 foot 180.
Or they'll take advantage.
Yeah, or they'll push you around. Like you gotta be tough, and like you gotta not have these people liking you. And
that was the era back then too. They allowed it, and toughness. He was able to.
Yeah,
the guy might be a great player, but what happens if you put some D on him, put a body on him? Is he still that same player?
Right. So where would you say Isaiah is ranked in all-time point guards?
Number 2.
Behind Magic?
Yeah.
Okay. So Steph ain't there.
Yeah, he's
Oscar
not
Robertson.
there. And I didn't see enough of Oscar.
So maybe we should do a reaction video to Oscar Robertson.
Yeah, because I haven't seen enough of Oscar, but as far as the others, and Steph is definitely climbing the charts.
But a lot of people say he's not even a point guard.
Right.
So it's
right.
kind of
Same with Kyrie.
Right. You 52, right?
53.
Okay. So it's a lot of people on this channel that's around that age too. So
What's up, crew?
Yeah. So y'all gonna be able to relate a lot, and kind of have a lot of the nostalgic feels. So this should be pretty good. So write in the comments right now, where does Isaiah Thomas rank as far as all-time point guards? Let me know.
The city of Detroit and became the face of the franchise in the next few years, but not yet. In the middle of his rookie season, the Pistons also acquired Bill Laimbeer, a tough, physical center who got a lot of flack for his playstyle. Some would say he was too aggressive, hitting his opponents who drove to the rim as hard as he could, and over the years, his physicality would be the center of controversy. Also in the same season, they acquired the microwave, Vinnie Johnson, a sixth-man dynamo, one of the greatest bench players of all time. But it wasn't until they signed Chuck Daly as their new head...
Who, Vinnie Johnson?
Yeah. It's called Pistons. It's like automotive type company.
Okay.
It's right out of Lexus.
Shout out to Vinnie Johnson for creating a business in our hometown called the Pistons.
Yeah, it's called Pistons.
Pistons. Oh, that's fire. That's dope.
coach in 1983 when things started to ramp up quickly. While Thomas and Lambier would be the foundation of the Pistons' toughness and attitude, the team was still being led by Kelly Tripucka, an all-star and the leading scorer on the team. Funny enough, the Pistons in 1984 and 1985, they were much different than the version we know them as today. In 1984, the team had the best offensive rating in the league and played at an absurd pace, the 5th fastest pace in the NBA. Led by Kelly Tripucka and Isaiah Thomas, they were kinda like a worse version of the Showtime Lakers. Defensively, this team was not that good, consistently finishing in the bottom half of the league in defensive rating. As a result, they could not make it very far in the playoffs. However, by 1986, the entire team went through a huge transformation. They drafted Joe Dumars a year earlier in the 1985 draft, and he showed a lot of promise. His defense made him stand out above the rest, and the organization felt like his talents fit the team's identity a lot better. So by the end of 1986, the Pistons felt comfortable trading away Kelly Tripucka. In return, they received perennial all-star and perennial 30 points per game scorer Adrian Dantley. This was the biggest trade they ever made, because Dantley was that go-to scorer they were desperately missing. A guy who you could just throw the ball to and get you a bucket.
What defense was that?
They also picked up Dennis Rodman in the later part of the 1986 draft.
Alright, so I'm starting to kind of figure out what was going on. So they say early on, Isaiah early years, they were offensive minded, the Pistons. Him and Tripucka or whatever, they was all about offense.
Top 5 offensive.
Top 5 offensively.
Bottom 5 defense.
Right, and they said they was losing in the first round or whatever. So around this mid to late 80s is when the bad boys started being created, and they started, all right, let's focus more on defense. They got Joe Dumars. They already had Bill Lambier for a couple years. Yeah. Started getting Rodman, so now they starting to form this bad boy identity.
Getting, Big Rich Mahorn.
Yeah, okay, so so they had
even John Sally.
Okay. So it makes sense. It makes sense.
Turns out he would be one of the most unique players of all time, and a perfect fit for the team too. They also added some more role players like Rick Mahorn, a bruising backup power forward. So when Bill Lambier sits out for a break, Mahorn could come in and continue knocking the hell out of anyone driving to the rim. John Sally was another key addition to the team, and probably the most likable player on the team. And so this new-look Pistons team was formed, and they were ready for a resurgence. And it happened right away. In the 1986-87 season, the Pistons would win 52 games. They would finish with the 5th best defense, much better than their previous iterations. They would grab the 3rd seed in the Eastern Conference and make it all the way to the conference finals. Unfortunately, after a tough 7-game series, they would eventually fall to the Celtics. This was the series where Isaiah made that huge turnover. This iconic play call is something that most of us have heard before, and it lost them Game 5. Had the Pistons won that game, they'd probably take the series. You add on the physicality of the Pistons' playstyle to the point where it looked like they were trying to purposely knock out other players.
Shout out to the Bird Gang too. I know y'all gonna be watching this video. The Bird Gang is all my Boston Celtics, Larry Bird fans that came on the channel.
I'm sure it's a lot of them.
It's a lot of them. It's a lot of them. They love Larry Bird. They put Larry Bird top 1 to top 3 all time. Like that's how how highly they feel about Larry Bird. And they didn't put me on to a lot of Larry Bird stuff too. I didn't know he was that good. I thought he was just a shooter.
And when he was playing, we wasn't a fan of Bird. I was like a Sixer fan. Right. It was either the Lakers, the Sixers, or the Celtics.
Right.
But you gotta respect Bird.
Gotta respect
the best, one of the best I ever seen.
Yeah, for sure.
Passer, shooter,
everything. Yeah,
and he was tough. Extremely confident.
Oh yeah. He would tell him.
Talk more trash than any of them.
He said, "I'm gonna get this ball. I'm gonna jab step this way. I'm gonna do 2 dribble pull up, and I'm gonna shoot it in your face." Like he used to say that and then go do it. Like it was actually pretty crazy. But shout out to the Bird Gang. If you're part of the Bird Gang, write something in the comments.
Players, yeah, it was kind of rough.
He hated Bill
Lambier was the biggest culprit, and over the years, he had multiple run-ins with other stars like Bird and Jordan.
He loved it.
Speaking of Jordan, the Pistons would defeat the Bulls in 3 straight years from 1988 to 1990. They would employ what they called the Jordan rules. According to Isaiah, it was pretty straightforward. The strategy was to, quote, to play him tough, to physically challenge him, and to vary its defenses so as to try to throw him off balance. Jordan made it publicly known that he did not like the Pistons and the way they played the game. He said, "The dirty play and the flagrant fouls and the unsportsmanlike conduct, hopefully that will be eliminated from the game with them gone. We don't go out and try to hurt people and dirty up the game. You never lose respect for the champions, but I haven't agreed with the methods they've used. I think people are happy the game will get back to a clean game."
What Jordan was
To
saying?
which Isaiah responded, "People will look back at this team and say, we were one of the greatest teams to play basketball. We were great champions. He should be classier than to talk like that." And today, both Jordan and Thomas were kinda true. When we look back at the Pistons, it's a combination of both. We know they're one of the greatest teams of all time, one of the greatest champions of all time, but their physicality was a bit over the top. I'm sure we can all agree to that. But the hatred for the Pistons extended beyond that too.
He's
scared.
Not just from
He's
the
scared.
players or fans, but also from other front offices and other organizations in general. They were so unpopular that everybody wanted to see them lose. In the 1988 finals, they would lose another tough 7-game series. This time to the Lakers. In Game 6, the ref...
Y'all think that would be a good reaction video? That series right there? The 1988 finals, it went 7.
But what I'm thinking is, they went to the finals, 88, 89, and 90.
So they lost this one, then won
Then
2
they
straight.
beat the Lakers, then they beat Portland.
Beat Portland. Okay, so they went to the finals 3 straight years.
Yeah.
So they figured it out at
Yeah.
late 80s.
Yep.
Okay, because they could have won this one. They just lost in 7.
7,
Yeah.
right.
Refs called a phantom foul on Bill Laimbeer at the end of the game. He barely touched Kareem, and from the way the
phantom
rest of the
foul.
game was called, there was no way this was a foul. But the ref
Right.
called it a foul. Kareem hit 2 free throws, and the game was over.
That's how they won.
This saved the Lakers from elimination, and they would go on to win Game 7. After
Was this the year where Isaiah had the messed up ankle? 'Cause I know they lost
Yes.
that year.
Yep, I think that was 88.
Okay.
Yep, had 25 points in the third quarter.
Nobody still has
On
done
1
that.
foot.
Nobody's done that to this day in the playoffs.
Nope.
Afterwards, the players felt like they
Definitely
were
not in the
robbed.
finals.
They believed that this was a ploy by the NBA because they did not want the Pistons to win the championship and be the face of the league. Years later, Lakers coach Pat Riley even
Pat
mentioned
Riley.
in his book that there was no foul on Kareem. And it was a phantom call that won the Lakers the championship.
Wow.
In the following year, there was some drama surrounding the Pistons, but this time it was in their own locker
They
room.
got rid of Dantley.
Adrian Dantley had been the leading scorer.
They got rid of Dantley for Isaiah's boy,
Who?
Mark Aguirre.
Mark McGuire. Who was better, you think, out of those two?
It was
It
close.
sounded like they only got rid of him because there was some issues going on.
Right, it was definitely close.
Okay. Y'all write in the comments, who better, Mark Aguirre or Adrian Dantley?
That's a good one.
Good one.
Dantley was a scoring leader before. He used to
Right.
average like 30.
They say he only got he averaged 30, yeah, so he came in to score.
Aguirre, man, was a little younger.
Okay.
So that might have been the reason why they made the move. And I can't think of what the discrepancy was.
They might talk about it. Let's see.
on the team, but he never fit in his own locker room. Adrian Dantley had been the leading scorer on the team, but he never fit in with the team's culture. He wasn't a good defender, and he would regularly complain if he didn't get enough shots.
And
He would
came
also
from
get
Utah.
frustrated with Coach Chuck Daly because now at the end of games, he would get benched for the younger Dennis Rodman,
For
a more
defense
versatile
purposes.
defender. So, as you can guess, he was quite unhappy, and would eventually get traded. But at the end of the day, this trade worked out better for the team. The Pistons got back Mark Aguirre, another lethal scorer, but he wasn't a ball stopper like Dantley was.
Ball stop.
And after the trade, they saw immediate success.
Hey!
In the 1988 to 89 season, they won a staggering
Sheesh.
63 games. Up until then, that was the most in franchise history. They swept the Lakers in the 1989 finals,
Swept 'em?
capturing their first ever NBA championship.
I know it's gonna be some Magic people in here too. I ain't know Magic got swept in the finals, y'all. We gotta talk about that one. They got swept. Like what was that? The end of the Showtime era or something?
Not yet.
They got swept.
Not yet.
That's
And I don't
crazy.
know if it was injuries during that finals.
Yeah, somebody give us a little bit more about that series right there, because that was the first time the Pistons won, and they swept the team that just won 5 championships in the 80s. So Let me know a little bit more about that Detroit Pistons and Lakers.
I guess
series.
that was close to the end because when they did go back, they lost to the Bulls when they won
Right,
the first.
right. So the Lakers never won again after 88.
Yeah.
After 88. After they won that Game 7 series against the Pistons.
Against the Pistons.
Okay.
Then in 1990, they would defeat the Portland Trailblazers in 5 games and win
Lakers didn't make it that
back-to-back.
year.
So they won 4-0 and then
What
4-1.
separated the Pistons from other contenders was that their defensive identity was something else. Both Thomas and Dumars were by far the greatest defensive backcourt the NBA has ever seen. And it was incredible because they were 2 small guards, standing at 6'1" and 6'3". It was very uncommon back then to see perimeter defense played like that. The aggressive trapping and blitzing all the way at the 3-point line. It's very common nowadays, but back then it was so rare to see. It was almost impossible for other guards to get by them. Double teaming or trapping players from that far out was unheard of. Jordan even said that Dumars was the greatest defender he ever played against.
Jordan said that?
On top of that, they also had Dennis Rodman, who was the most versatile defender we've ever seen. Nobody could guard everyone from point guards to centers, but Rodman was pretty damn close.
Yeah, they didn't
He was
play.
way ahead of his time. If you look at every championship team after the Pistons, most teams now have at least one amazing versatile defender. The Pistons started this trend, and that defense-first mentality carried them along the way. Unfortunately for them, they would lose in 1991 to the Bulls. This officially marks the end of the Bad Boys era, as everyone got older and started to regress. A few years later, everyone either retired or got traded. In Isaiah Thomas's case, a torn Achilles in 1994 ended his career sooner than expected.
Achilles?
Eventually, the Bad Boy Pistons had 3 players become future Hall of Famers: Thomas, Dumars, and Rodman. All of them had great careers. In an era dominated by superstars like Bird, Magic, and Jordan, the Pistons won in their own way,
picture
despite
shit.
everyone rooting against
Why not?
them.
Without
And-
Isaiah.
Oh yeah, we're gonna
Anyway,
talk
that's
about
all,
that.
folks. That sums up the story of the Bad Boy Pistons. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about this era and the players of that time. How well do you think they are compared to other championship
They were doing it
teams?
to Barkley
Thank you
and
everyone
everybody.
so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace out, Andy. Great video. But I want to talk about, I was reacting to a Bulls video the other day, and I think it was Charles Barkley. And he was saying that he felt that Dennis Rodman was one of the most athletic players of all time.
I always said
I didn't know he was that athletic.
I would have loved to have seen Dennis Rodman run a 400 meters.
That would probably been crazy.
Yeah. At 6'8", with the stride he had, he might have a world record.
Crazy. But I appreciate y'all for watching this video. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel if y'all haven't already. We're on the road to 10K. So if you're not subscribed yet, you right there. You that's watching this video.
Yeah,
You. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, man. Go ahead and like this video if you like this video. And go ahead and write something in the comments. I got one last question for you though. Why do you think that Isaiah Thomas didn't make the Dream Team?
Michael Jordan. They say it was everybody didn't like Isaiah, but everybody didn't matter. It was about
Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we're gonna pause that because we got another video we're about to react to talking about the Dream Team. So we appreciate y'all like always. We out.